Hello and welcome to beautiful Las Vegas. Welcome to episode 441 of the TEW Challenge Run, and welcome to Cyber Sunday here on Saturday, week 1 of November. We are here, MGM Grand Arena in Las Vegas, and the votes are in. You can see, I was going to say, they might have changed since, I'm recording this, but you can see them on the community page, so you probably already know what's happening if you've been keeping up with those. But yeah, tonight we've got WWE Championship match, World Heavyweight Championship match, Women's Championship match, Women's World Championship match, Cody Rhodes versus Christian, John Cena versus Swerve, and some combination of Otis versus the Maximum Male Models. In the previous time I did Cyber Sunday, I said that every single vote had an option that would change the storyline. That's not necessarily the case this year, because this year there is some that there are a lot of polls I put up where no matter who you vote for, the outcome is the same, but the stories that will be branched off from here have been altered based on what you voted for, because I can tell what's popular, what isn't, and etc., stuff like that. So as much as I may have been everything this going to happen tonight is going to happen anyway, the votings has changed a lot for the future of the save. So yeah, it is basically the people's show. I think I might make this a yearly thing now I've got the community polls, because that's the easiest way to do it. I haven't got to fucking create an entire external link or some voting thing and pay for some shit and then wait days to get enough feedback in. I could just post them as I did this year and I can immediately have the feedback. But yeah, that's enough ranting. Without any more further ado, let's jump straight into tonight's show. We start off on the pre-show with this tag team match that's been brewing. Out the mud, Bronco Nima and Lucian Price of the Mogul affiliates defeat Hit Rose, Top Dollar, and Ashanti the Adonis when Bronco Nima cheats to pin Ashanti with a foreign object. 77 for Ashanti, 73 for Top Dollar, 27 for Lucian Price, and 25 for Bronco Nima. We're in the world now where I've done such a good job with the Hit Bro breakups, I think not to pat myself on the back, but to the point where I had to protect them in defeat. To the point where in my world, the fans are behind Top Dollar and Ashanti, and they wanted to see them win this match. But yeah, sadly it is the new boys out the mud who pick up the win. But that's our pre-show match. No voting attached to that one. But yeah, we then move on to the hype package, of what we know of the hype package, and I've just seen a chemistry note that I'm absolutely going to fix. It's got Io, Drew, Montez Ford, and Ilya Dragunov in. We know they're defending. I probably should have put Rhea here as well, but I didn't have enough room. We also hyped up Christian and Cody and John Cena and Swerve. And the opening match of this show will be Cody Rhodes, the prodigal son returning to the MGM Grand Arena. We probably would make references to it on commentary. You go, an arena, very close to the heart of Cody Rhodes and the Rhodes family, or some shit like that, without actually mentioning why. But we then get the segment where the voting is revealed that they will be having a Texas Bull Rope match. This one, it didn't surprise me that Texas Bull Rope did win, because I kind of did expect that to win, because it is basically the voting was a Cody stipulation, a Christian stipulation, and then a neutral stipulation, which was the Falls Count Anywhere match. But I did think Coffin match would get a lot more votes than it did. Maybe you're just not as sick as I am, because that's absolutely what I would have voted for. But it is the Texas Bull Rope match, a Rhodes family tradition. I don't know if there are different kinds of Texas Bull Rope match, but the one I'm envisioning is the one where, they've each tied on their wrist and they've got a cowbell on the end of each rope. I don't know if that's the only version of a Texas Bull Rope match, or if that's just the specific one that WWE used, but that's the one we're using here. Gets a 92, and of course, in 1848, in a building that means so much to the Cody Rhodes brand, the American Nightmare brand, he does get vengeance on the man who's been insulting Dusty for the last month and a half. Cody does defeat Christian in 1848 with a Crossroads to put a nice little bow on that rivalry. A rivalry that had to happen because I'm doing the Christian bit about dead fathers, and Cody's on this show, so naturally they were going to cross paths at some point. But it is the American Nightmare who stands tall. 88 for Cody, 86 for Christian, who was off his game and tiring. But it doesn't matter, because the match still ruled. And yeah, Cody stands tall. And what's next for the American Nightmare? After this victory, heading into Survivor Series. We're only 2 weeks away from Survivor Series. So, who knows what he's got in store for him at that show. Speaking of Survivor Series, Batista's in his office when Adam Pearce walks in. He says, Dave. Batista goes, Adam. He goes, Dave, I'm glad you're here. You see, Paul, he's not here tonight because there's no ECW matches on this show. But I spoke to him. He's not interested. But I was hoping that you'd fulfill my proposition. See, with Survivor Series 2 weeks away, it's time for, brand supremacy to rear its ugly head. And of course, we've got a lot of stuff going on our respective shows this year. A lot of people that want to rip each other's heads off. But here's what I'm proposing to you. 1 match. You pick 5 of your guys, I pick 5 of my guys. And they go to face off to determine who is the top brand here in WWE. But the individual sole survivors of our team will be rewarded with a championship opportunity of their choosing. And Batista goes, so you're proposing 5v5, brand supremacy, Raw versus SmackDown, no ECW, Paul? And Pierce goes, nah, Paul said he wasn't interested. He doesn't want to be giving out championship matches to his roster, apparently. Batista goes, yeah, we all know why that is. But anyway, I'll see you at Survivor Series, Adam. He goes, great. Let the games begin. So yeah, one brand supremacy match. Because, right, here's my thing with Survivor Series brand supremacy. The way they did it in real life, it was irrelevant because they had a draft a month before, and they were fighting for brands they'd been on for 6 weeks, and there was nothing on the line in the whole show. I think doing one 5v5 brand supremacy match where the sole survivors get a title opportunity, that's fine. So, and that's my preferred way. Then you still have that element of brand v brand on the show, but it's not dominating the show where all the champions have to fight the other champions and that shit. So we're gonna do one, but Paul Heyman, for one reason or another, doesn't want to give out championship matches to his roster. I wonder why that could be. So it's gonna just be Batista and Adam Pearce, Raw versus SmackDown. Not at all the reason for that being I can't do 5v5v5 in TEW. So yeah, Raw vs SmackDown, they've got 2 weeks to pick their teams. And then see backstage, Chad Gable, Otis and Mackie. Gable's coming out of a doctor's office, or the doctor's room, and they go, how is he? He goes, he's not going to make it. And then Mackie goes, oh, that's poo! They cheat. Gable goes, relax. First of all, the fans might not have even voted for the 4v4 tonight. But if they did, we can take them 3v4. It's fine. I'm an Olympian. I have a 4.0 GPA and I know how to outsmart everybody, including a bunch of make-believe models. Okay? Thank you. And then they leave. So yeah, Annie Ogogo got attacked on Raw from behind by Pretty Deadly and Brooks Jensen. And he appears to not be able to make it tonight. So, yeah. The babyface team is in a bit of a pickle should that match be the 4v4. Next up, WWE Women's Championship match. Rhea Ripley comes out. And then we see Charlotte, Sasha, and Bayley backstage watching on to see who gets the vote to be Rhea's challenger. And it is boss time, because you did choose Sasha Banks to once again go up against Rhea Ripley here tonight. And yeah, it didn't really matter who you picked here. Rhea, in 1727 with her Riptide, defeats her chosen challenger, which in this case is Sasha Banks, and makes defense number 3 of the women's title. 92 for Rhea, 91 for Sasha. And yeah, of course I knew Charlotte wasn't going to win. I like the arc that it sent Charlotte on, though. Well, she knew she wasn't going to win the vote, so she decided to just be a dickhead about it. And yeah, Rhea Ripley stands. So she has got AJ Lee now breathing down her neck. And with Survivor Series this close, who knows where that's going. But yeah, of the four horsewomen chosen tonight, Rhea does stand tall. And she'd probably like lay out Sasha after the match as well. Maybe put her back through the table again. Send her packing like she did Charlotte and actually Sasha herself last year. We then got back to Batista's office where he's joined by Rey Mysterio, Finn Balor, and AJ Styles. And he's talking about, he goes, Survivor Series, we just had a chat with Adam Pearce. He's planning 5v5 brand supremacy. The winning brands get a shot at a championship of their choosing. Now you two, Finn, AJ, I'm sure you'd love to win back those Raw Tag Team titles that you lost. And Rey, you're always up for a challenge, maybe to become Intercontinental Champion or WWE Champion, or maybe even go take those Cruiserweight Trios Championships from your son's friends. And of course, me and you, Rey, we go way back, so of course, I couldn't think of a more fitting person to stand in on my team. Well, I mean, I could think of maybe one more, but we'll see him on Monday night. So yeah, Batista's found his first 3 members of his team at Survivor Series. Those being AJ Styles, Finn Balor, and Rey Mysterio. Yeah. I was going to do qualifiers for all the spots in the matches, but I only have 2 weeks. So we're just going to announce some of them. Because I think that's fine. I think they're immediately going, well, I'm going to pick people. That would be how that works. Adam Pearce has got his whole team laid out. We'll find that out later on tonight. But Batista has left 2 spots open. One, he says we'll find out who it is on Monday. The other, we don't know. But we then get the rundown for the Otis versus the Maximum Male Models match. Outcome of the Maximum Male Models, all 4 of them. Otis comes out, he stands on the ramp, and he waits to see what the result is. And of course, the result is that it will be the 8-person tag with Brooks, Tonya, Elton, and Kit facing Otis, Mackie, Gable, and we fought Anthony Ogogo. But Anthony Ogogo isn't here. So, Otis, Mackie, and Gable appear to be a man down here tonight. But like Gable just said, he's all fired up, but he's sure they can take him on 4v3. So, they get to the ring and the match starts 4v3. And Otis does a good job powering through, but eventually the numbers game once he does get to him. And things are looking bleak for Otis, Gable, and Mackie.
Look everyone, it's Tyler!
When out from the back comes Tyler Breeze. Breeze has had quite the arc over the last few years. He was forced into, I guess, forming Maximum Male Models along with his sister. Was still didn't really want to be there, quit. And he's still a little bit insane, but not as insane as he used to be. So he's sort of like, I'm trying to find a balance here between Crazy Man Tyler Breeze and Prince Pretty. And the closest I can sort of think of in that regard is, I guess, kind of Cody when he had the mask and he broke his nose. Is the sort of best I can think of, like a hybrid character for. He's still got those crazy thoughts. He's still crazy Tyler Breeze McMahon, but he's a little bit more of the Prince Pretty. So yeah, but he's back, and of course him being on the team does lead that team to victory. Breeze he runs amok on his sister's clients, I guess. Tags out, Otis comes in, he hits the World's Strongest Slam with a Caterpillar, and he pins Brooks Jensen to finally get revenge on that son of a bitch. 72 for Breeze, Tyler, that is. 87 for Gable, 84 for Mackie, 75 for Otis, 65 for Kit, 58 for Elton, 33 for Tonya Breeze, and a 59 for Brooks Jensen. A big win for Otis, Mackie, Gable, and Tyler Breeze. And then after the match, Breeze does lay out Otis and Gable with an Umbrella. and just walks out through the crowd. Because he came to the aid and defeated that pesky modeling group that he doesn't like. But these aren't his friends. He's a lone wolf. We then see Adam Pearce in his office. He's talking to the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. He goes, Kevin and Sammy, I know you've got your mind on, an upcoming title match with the Creed brothers. I know you've got to face Carmelo and Trick next week, but, I need you here because you're on my list. I've got you two as the SmackDown Tag Team Champions on my team at Survivor Series. And I go, great, but we'll love to represent you there, But I've got one question, Pierce, The winners of this match at Survivor Series, they get a championship opportunity. We already have titles. And Pierce goes, well, I guess if you win, then you can get a world title opportunity. And Kevin sort of just goes, yeah, that sounds great, Pierce. I can have 2 belts. Then Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams walk in. He goes, do you want to see me, Pierce? He goes, I did want to see you. So, I'm sure you've heard that we're doing Survivor Series brand v brand. Batista's picked some of his guys. I've picked some of my guys. And it's going to be Kevin Owens. It's going to be Sami Zayn. It's going to be Swerve Scott. It's going to be either Montez Ford or Ilya Dragunov, whoever doesn't walk out of here as the World Heavyweight Champion. And that's where you come in. Melo goes, great, it'll be an honor for us to, finish off the team. He goes, wait, there's only one spot left. You got both me and Trick here. I guess Trick would be a great part of the squad as well. I don't understand why you left him out, Pierce. Because, oh no, I didn't leave out Trick. Trick's the final member of Team SmackDown. He goes, what? You'll kill me. Tricky Willie. Oh, you're putting old Tricky Willie on Team SmackDown. I promise you, Adam Pearce. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I won't let you down. And then Melo's like, well, Pearce, what about me? Pearce goes, oh, well, there's only 5 spots, Melo, and competition for places on this brand are few and far between. So, better luck next year, I guess. And Hayes just shakes his head and goes, you will be sorry. After all these talks we've had, you're gonna leave me off the team? All this opportunity I've created for myself for Trick. You're leaving Trick Melo gang off the team. And Kevin Owens steps, he goes, well, I've got a better idea, if this guy's not gonna shut his mouth, okay, we've got a match against these two on SmackDown. So if me and Sammy lose that match to these guys, Melo can take one of our spots on the team. But when we beat him, he can shut his mouth. Melo goes, it's a deal. So yeah, added stakes to that non-title match on SmackDown. I guess if Carmelo Hayes and Trick, we don't know who of Sammy or Kevin he'd take, but one of them will be removed from the team for Carmelo Hayes. But yeah, Team SmackDown is complete without any qualifying matches. It's Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Swerve Scott, Eva Montez Ford, Ilya Dragunov, and Trick Williams as the team. We then get Drew McIntyre's entrance. He comes to the ring, and I didn't put a poll up for this one because it wouldn't have been fair, because Logan Paul rigs the poll. That's what that tweet was that I made up about him giving away years worth of Prime. He's like, oh, go vote for me to be in the title match, and then send me proof you've done it. So that we know all these votes get confirmed. He gets like 90%. And he's like, oh my god, Low Gang, we did it. We did it, Low Gang. And then he walks out from the back. I imagine the scene is like, they're all at like the interview area, like gathering around the screen, looking at the results. And then we follow Logan Paul, like walking towards the entryway, like walking towards Gorilla after he wins the vote. And you can just see Gunn in the background shaking his head, Xavier Woods throwing his arms around, going, what the fuck? But it is Logan Paul challenging Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. In an 83, because the psychology wasn't there. And Drew does Claymore Logan Paul in 15:28 to make defense number 4 of the WWE Championship. An 88 for Drew, an 89 for Logan Paul. But yes, it is Drew who retained, and he's not happy. He's fucking livid that he's even got to face Logan Paul. He thinks it's a disgrace and all this shit, and he sort of just snarls down on Logan Paul after he beats him, and just storms straight back up the ramp, and to the back. Next up, John Cena and Swerve Scott. The singles match, a long time coming. This entire John Cena run, the SAG-AFTRA run that he had in real life where he just feuded with the Bloodline, he's been feuding with Hit Row and Swerve in this land. And this is John Cena's last match before he has to go away. We're very open about that. And you guys picked Las Vegas Street Fight, in which I've actually had some liberties and I've called it Sin City Street Fight because that sounds better. But it's the same thing. And yeah, Swerve Scott, John Cena. Can Cena score his first singles win? Or will Swerve put John Cena down? The match gets a 97. Probably would have got a 100 if, for some reason, Swerve and Prince Nana had chemistry. Which they apparently don't. Which is lame. Because they definitely do. But when I saw that a street fight actually did win the votes, I was sort of like, really? Like, you picked that? But it was actually the one I was hoping you'd vote for. Because I can do the finish that I want to do in this. If you'd have picked TLC, I wouldn't have been able to do the finish I want to do. If you'd have picked the other one was Last Man Standing, I probably could, but not as impactfully. So, John Cena, Swerve, they're having their match. Of course, it's a street fight. You get all sorts of street-based equipment out. The steel steps come out. And then they get thrown into the ring. John Cena goes to AA Swerve onto the steel steps. He lands on his feet, takes him down. And in the end, John Cena is laid out on the steel steps. Swerve goes up top. And he goes to deliver the Swerve Stomp on John Cena. But he sort of stops. And he looks down at John Cena. And you're sort of thinking, like, he's having a change of heart. You're sort of thinking that, because I imagine the whole thing is Swerve's been beating up John Cena this whole match. And like, there'd be brief John Cena comeback spots, but Swerve has been dominating him. But he just won't stay down. But in the end, Swerve doesn't do that. He calls, for a cinder block to be brought in. And I don't know if I want to have the cinder block on Cena, or if I want him to be on top of it and then it crumbles under his weight. I think when he laid out Keith Lee with it, like, think back a year and a half, back when actually they were going to do that rivalry. I think he laid Keith out on the steps and did the stomp on the cinder block that was on Keith's chest. So I guess that's how we're going to do it. But a cinder block based Swerve Stomp while John Cena was laid out on the steel steps. And because it's, WWE, you're actually going to sell that. And the crowd's going to look in disgust. And Swerve, laughing his ass off, crawls over the top of John Cena, sits on him, hooks his leg, and gets the free. Swerve with an emphatic victory here over the greatest of all time. 83 for Swerve Scott, 90 for John Cena. And yeah. Not only was that John Cena's last match before he has to go back to Hollywood, but maybe he won't even go back because that was a pretty nasty stomp by Swerve. And next up for Swerve is his spot on the SmackDown Survivor Series team. So he's carrying this momentum all the way to try and, get himself a championship opportunity, which he could target that US title that he lost. Or he could have loftier goals. Drew, he's in his locker room, he's storming out, he's putting all his things in his bag. He goes, you gotta be kidding me. Logan Paul, he gets all his 12-year-old fans to go on social media and vote for him to get a championship as he doesn't deserve. I don't even know why he was an option to be challenging me tonight to challenge Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. At least with Gunther, that guy's beat me before, so he actually has some leg to stand on. And Xavier Woods, as much as a loser as he is, and he doesn't deserve a chance opportunity against me either, at least he works here. At least he's a wrestler, not a YouTube social media pop star. Okay? And guess what? I put that idiot down, and now there's nobody left to challenge me for my title, because I've beaten everybody I possibly can beat. He then storms out of his locker room, and there waiting on the other side is Cody Rhodes, with a shit-eating grin. He goes, "How's it going?" He goes, "What?" He goes, "Oh, I saw you tonight. Big win against Logan Paul. I'm sure that'll go viral. But don't let this distract you from 2 weeks ago on Raw. And that 8-man tag. Drew McIntyre, I beat you. I beat you one-on-one in the center of that ring when there was no obstacles, no cheating. And now you're still carrying around my WWE Championship. And hell, I used to walk around here talking about finishing the story. I'm ready for the sequel." And Cody walks off, and Drew sort of looks at Cody as he leaves. We then get Montez Ford and Ilya Dragunov's entrance, and we get the vote for who's going to be the referee, and of course, who else wins but LA Knight? Yeah. And he comes out, and he's the referee for Ilya Dragunov versus Montez Ford, which gets a 17-9 because they don't click. And also because I think I might have been penalised having LA Knight as the ref. No. But it's just because of the chemistry, and I guess the finish, because this is an overbooked mess of a match. But you can probably tell the result based on the fact that I've had to do that. But here, let me take you along for the ride. So LA Knight's the ref. Everyone's cheering for him. Montez Ford is mouthing off at him. Ilya Dragunov's just getting on with his business. He barely even looks at the referee. He doesn't care who it is. He's just trying to whoop ass. Montez Ford, he's arguing with the ref. He gets in LA Knight's face. LA Knight shoves him down and shit like that. And then eventually Ilya goes for the Torpedo Moscow, and Montez Ford grabs LA Knight and drags him in front of him, and Knight's been taken out. Which then leads to the rest of EST running out. Oro Mensah, probably just Oro and Jakara, because Bianca, she could be in the main event tonight. But Oro Mensah's definitely got some sort of weapon. He hands one to Montez Ford, and the both of them just wail on Ilya with steel chairs and shit. Ilya starts to fire up. He takes out Oro Mensah, H-bombs him, he's down. Montez Ford low blows Ilya Dragunov, and he rolls him up. He puts his feet on the ropes on LA Knight because he can't really see because he's just been taken out. He counts the pin, and Montez Ford does retain. He gets a 71-74 for Ilya. Chemistry fucked this, but luckily the singles match isn't happening again. So yeah, but LA Knight now has a little bit of beef with Ilya Dragunov, because he obviously thinks that Ilya just attacked him, because wrestlers are dumb. But after the match, LA Knight does raise Montez Ford's hand because he did, referee sort of fair and square, but then immediately drops him with a BFT and walks out. So yeah, that's the finish. It's a bit fucky. The second ring gets a 79. Rightfully, I reckon this would be the weakest segment of the show, because it had to involve a lot of overbooked nonsense, because I didn't want Montez Ford to pin Ilya Dragunov. LA Knight being the ref actually wasn't part of that fucky, because I would have had him just call the match down the middle regardless. If this was Montez Ford versus somebody that Montez could beat, he would just pin him, because he sort of wants to take the belt from Tez, so he wouldn't really want to fuck him over. But the fact that it's Ilya, and I didn't want Montez Ford to pin Ilya Dragunov clean, means that fuckiness had to get involved and ruin the whole match. Main event time. Speaking of fuckiness, there should be a lot little of that. A lot little? That makes no sense. A lot less of that here tonight. Because this is a steel cage. Io, she's in the ring, but she doesn't know who she's facing inside this cage. It's either Bianca Belair, Asuka, or Dakota Kai. And Dakota Kai won the poll by a fair margin, actually. I assumed it'll be her or Asuka, because, Asuka did beat Io recently on SmackDown, and they had the first 100 match of the series. So I was like, yeah, people might want to see Asuka, but no, you want to see Dakota get a rematch from No Mercy, which understandable, because there'll be no fucky refereeing tonight. Let me tell you that. 94, I'll take that. Yeah, 22 minutes and 1 second. This goes. Grueling cage main event, and Io is wrestling a different match here because she doesn't have that crutch that she normally has. She can call to have Cammy out there, but there's not really anything she can do because, there's a cage. It's pinfall and submissions, and as well as escape. But yeah. Io and Dakota go at it, hit each other with their finishes, but they keep kicking out. So, it's sort of revealed in their brains that they might have to escape to win. So, we do the odd spot superplex in the corner. Dakota takes down Io with a superplex. And she starts crawling towards the cage door. The cage door's opened up. The crowd's firing her up, drumming on the floor. And then as Dakota does get to the cage door, she goes to escape. That is when Tegan Nox does appear, slams the cage door in Dakota Kai's face. And Io then hits a moonsault. And somehow, some way, Queendom have helped out yet again. And Dakota Kai has once again fallen to the numbers game. 93 for Io, 82 for Dakota, 94 for the match. As when after the match, we sort of run back the same angle from Friday. They go to raise the cage, but then we cut the production truck wherever, and Cammy's shouting at him, going, no, leave the cage down. And then they leave the cage down, and Utami and Piper Niven come out. Maybe with weapons as well, or a handcuffs, or a way to handcuff Dakota Kai to the cage or whatever. And they take turns just wailing on Dakota inside the cage. 4-on-1 assault. When Asuka's music hits and she storms out, she tries to help Dakota. She gets in there, but her 1 against, I guess technically 4, because Dakota can't really help because she's been walloped and is handcuffed to the cage. Her 1 isn't quite enough, even if she does miss Piper Niven. That's when Bianca Belair actually does also run out. Because she may be a dick and an asshole, but she's also got beef with these girls. So she storms in and she starts whipping people with her hair. We start popping for her like the old days when we used to love Bianca. Still outnumbered though. That's when Candice LeRae. We haven't seen Candice since No Mercy. It's actually Dakota. No, it's actually Bianca who took her out. Candice storms down. She tries to get inside the cage, but I imagine Piper or Tegan is holding the cage. Or Tegan, because Piper got misted. Tegan's holding the cage door shut, but Candice doesn't care. She climbs up the side of the cage and she dives in with a big crossbody, taking out all of Queendom. And she's getting all fired up. Candice LeRae back, a little bit more edgy version of her, hence the theme song change. And she gets up and she undoes the handcuffs on Dakota. But Dakota just sort of flumps to the floor and sort of just sits in the corner as Candice bumps fists with Asuka. And then she sort of awkwardly looks across at Bianca Belair. And Bianca's just shakes her head and just goes to celebrate by herself, doesn't acknowledge Candice at all. But Asuka and Candice bump fists, standing tall. Bianca's doing her own thing, and Dakota this whole time, after being freed, is sort of got her head in her hands in the corner, just sat curled up in the corner, like wondering, like, what the fuck? What is this shit? What am I gonna do? But there sure are a lot of women locked inside this cage. One could say too many for one ring. $99 rated show. Increased our pub in 51 regions. Yeah, I thought this was a fun show. It was definitely a stopgap between all of the main pay-per-views and Survivor Series. It was designed that way, but the gimmick was that it's the people show, you know. This was sort of a way for me to gauge what I should be doing, and like, again, like I said in the start, it has changed course for a lot of plans heading forward, including one that will likely have changed the main event of WrestleMania. That's like the changes we're talking here based on the votes of these polls. So yeah, it may not have had an immediate impact, but I should probably do these a lot more often. Or maybe just polls, just in general more often, just like asking like things. If there's anything I'm stumped on, or like I should take it to the community page, because it could help me out. Anyway, what matters more is what you thought of the show, so do let me know what you thought in the comments below. This went 36 minutes, how the fuck? But I will see you next time for Raw, in which we will start the short, but I'm sure will be very, very fun 2-week build to Survivor Series. See you then.